Hi, I'm Doug Mackenzie and this is the Fintech Show. Today we're diving straight into the world of open banking and its effect on the very fabric of the finance industry. We'll also take a look at how PSD2 is actually fueling this revolution with insights from a variety of different players. So first up, we were keen to discuss the challenges facing traditional institutions when approaching open banking.
So what are the opportunities and challenges faced by financial institutions in open banking today?
Right, so for financial institutions, open banking means a big complexity, a big challenge, because where they come from is a change of mindset, a change of behavior from the client. So they get the whole disruption, the whole area of new value chains with us. So the client's behavior is different right now. Clients change their behavior, how they buy things, how they select things. They have the new platforms like Amazon where they get everything in one shop, and that's where banks have to catch up. And then they have these tremendous markets like innovators coming in there, showing the cool applications, making pressure of banks like doing account aggregation, financial analytics and so on. So they really bring the cool stuff to the client, and banks have to react right now to change behavior with new innovations from fintechs and other new technologies.
It requires just a little bit of perspective change if you look at things like open banking, right? Initially, we really consider it to be just a regulatory mandate, but there are tremendous opportunities that actually open banking can give to banks like Citi. My example will not be from Europe, but it will be something, again, like a similar regulation introduced in Argentina, in another part of the world, which actually helped us a lot because we were divesting our consumer business there. And we worked with the regulator to make sure that we actually keep the existing business and continue to serve the best to our corporate clients, leveraging open banking regulations in that country. So something that we see as a regulatory challenge can actually turn into an opportunity if we just change the perspective.
One of the largest kind of catalysts towards open banking has been PSD2. Why do you think some other banks have really struggled to come to terms with the fact this is going to be a real thing and haven't started working towards that open banking future?
Well, I think it's tough for banks to understand what really will be the impact. So I think there is, if you look at open banking, there are the PSD2, the regulation, which you have to comply to. And there, I guess, the challenges will be for banks that there is no one single set of rules in Europe. So it's kind of country by country approach. The standards are not the same. So if you're a large corporate like ING, you need to comply with all of the rules across all countries. So I think being compliant is one thing and a challenge in itself. And then the question is, if you look at this revolution, which it is, what does that mean for you as a bank? And are you willing to disrupt yourself? Are you willing to propose beyond what the regulation is asking, right?
Now, we can't really talk about open banking without bringing up PSD2, the regulation that's disrupting the monopoly banks have traditionally held over their customers' data. So our interviewees gave us their ideas on what this is going to mean going forward.
I think PSD2 will have a huge impact on open banking. So currently what we can see in the markets is that banks are now seeing that there's something happening and they see that they have to do something, they have to offer open APIs. And that really helps banks to also define their strategies and to see where they can drive their businesses in the future. And I think there's also a bigger understanding of banks that TPPs are really coming to the markets. They are offering great services. Banks can see that their clients and their customers are asking for the services offered by the new PSD2 TPPs. And I think it will be a great impact in banks and have a great impact when it comes to defining their open banking strategies. So I guess PSD2 was the first push in the right direction, but it shouldn't be understood as an open banking standard, I think, because open banking is not just opening up your APIs, it's also to provide additional services, to provide extended data services. And PSD2 only covers a very small part of the potential that lie behind open APIs. So I think it should be understood really as a first step into the right direction, which is very important for rather conservative markets, but it's not the end of PSD2 and it's not the end of open banking.
When you think about PSD2, there's really two pieces to it. One is mandating, I think, good practices around strong customer authentication. And I think many FIs are very focused on meeting the compliance needs first. And I suspect between now and September, you'll see firms racing to make sure they have appropriate security and fraud prevention in their platforms, and to make sure their APIs are ready. But I think after September, we will hopefully see an explosion of new options for customers. And I think it's on banks really to take one of two approaches. One is you have to get the UX right. Ultimately, I think the front-end experience is going to be so critical here, and the firms that have the most frictionless and seamless approach to user interface and user experience design will win. The other factor that's happening as part of open banking is there's a risk that banks could become just plumbing, just really the financial infrastructure underneath front ends built by other parties. You could still win at plumbing, but in order to do so, you have to have flawless execution, right? You can't get things wrong. As you think forward to a really open banking enabled future across multiple jurisdictions and the potential for digital identity, switching between institutions could become frictionless. And so I think customer tolerance for exceptions will decrease, and therefore you just need to be perfect. And so as a financial institution like Western Union, we're investing in making sure we can process even more flawlessly than we already do today, while also building great user experiences for our customers to keep them engaged with our properties.
Obviously, there are the APIs linked to PSD2, which is a given, I would say. Next to that, what we've been doing in a few years' time is to make our own infrastructure API-based, what we call TPA. It's a way to have those modular, granular internal APIs based on which ING ecosystem can operate, which allows us to rapidly roll out best practices from one country to another. So transforming our internal architecture into a API-driven architecture, we feel is a key enabler to allow then a next stage, which is to make them open to the public and open to the ecosystem. In parallel, what we've been doing is to develop our own open banking portal, which is obviously our gateway to the developer community and to partners back and forth. And that's for us now the next stage. So obviously we already made Sandbox available and we're publishing the PSD2 APIs. And now we're going to translate some of the APIs that we've been working on internally into the external world. And obviously we'll be listening again to the community and create this fantastic ecosystem in order to make sure that, again, we listen to the needs of the market, and then we will be continuing by enriching our APIs and including them in our open banking portal. So that's the strategy that we are looking to implement.
Open banking has been affecting institutions around the world. So we went to Money 2020 here in Amsterdam to get a snapshot view on how the industry has been adapting.
Thanks for coming by. I just wanted to know, what do you think about PSD2? Do you think it's a good thing? Not that convinced?
The way we see the market in Switzerland, specifically in open banking, is that it's really growing. There are more appetite for those platforms and services. We see that with fintech companies as well as new emerging banking solutions. The Swiss market is pretty open for those solutions, and the growth rate is double digit, I would say, year over year.
How would you describe the way ING DiBa is going? Good? Have you implemented some open banking things already? Some, but you're not allowed to talk to, I think.
So from our side, it's we see that innovation can only drive by setting or by having a very strict new regulatory framework. I think it is important also that innovations, if they are not driven, if they are not coming from within, there is a regulatory framework that needs to be pushed out there to drive innovations. Of course, everybody needs to be aware of a concrete and clear framework on that respect, but we believe that open banking is going to provide a lot of innovative services, and we as Wirecard, of course, are prepared for delivering new and advanced solutions to speed up innovation in the whole fintech domain.
What do you think about deep diving in the API world? You would do that? Yeah? We deep dive together?
Finally, we took a look at the way that open banking has influenced collaboration between institutions and tech companies alike.
NDIGIT emphasizes the importance of collaboration between banks and fintechs or tech partners. Why is that?
What we could see is that most of innovation in the last years that we could see in the banks and the front ends of the banks and the mobile phones and the websites, that those came from fintechs. So they showed something like, can I analyze my accounts? Can I just make a picture of a money transfer and then send it over with my handy? Can I get mobile money or so on? And many of these innovations finally are coming from fintechs. So that means when banks try to connect to fintechs, that they get a scalable way how to bring innovation to their clients. And it's a fast way, it's kind of reusable way if you're doing it with a platform, because then you can just plug in a new innovation. You can see, well, there's a trend, and you can just choose as a bank which is my tactical partner. And when I have a platform, I can just bring a new portfolio to my clients. And if banks are not doing this, I think the digital companies would offer this. Then there would come these big players like Amazon, Google, providing strong tools via partners, via fintech partners which have the knowledge, which have the strong tools on the client side. And I think this is the role that banks should take.
So at ING we interact in different ways with fintech. First of all, we create our own fintechs. So probably as you have heard today, we've been creating a few fintechs out of our labs. I think two examples struck to mind. That's Yolt for the retail, which is a B2C money management app. First we launched in the UK and now extending to France and Italy, and we're about to reach 1 million registered users, so it's a great success for us. Another example could be Cobase, which is about the same but more for corporates, allowing treasurer to have a single view of all their accounts and then start having centralized money management for corporates. So let's say creating fintech is one option. Another way is to, let's say, start collaborating with fintechs, commercial contracts. We have about 170 partnerships today, and we have stopped 70 as well. So it's a huge access for us to have this win-win collaboration between ING and fintechs. And the third way will be investing in them, either via our ING Ventures, our commercial venture arm, or M&A in rare occasions. So there are different ways that we look into fintechs and ING and having, let's say, collaboration to accelerate our strategy.
What we noticed over time is when you have an idea and the innovation labs work on it, and then they try to give it away, okay, it becomes almost like adopting someone else's baby. So the receiving party doesn't really want to adopt someone else's baby. The innovation lab doesn't want to give its baby to someone else. So what we found over time very helpful is start working together on the ideas very early on, with all the relevant constituencies in the bank or outside of the bank. So 2 years ago, we launched this platform called Citi Payment Outlier Detection Platform. Actually, we are now enhancing it with one of the participants here, Fidzai. And it's leveraging machine learning and looking into payments behavior of corporate clients. But what we did actually with that one was we started working with our payments product partners very early on. Our data scientists, the product managers, the mainstream technology, including risk and control functions, because ultimately you need their approval as well. And that was really helpful, and that turned into a success where, compared to, the innovation lab ideating and trying to sell their own ideas to others.
Can you tell me a bit more about Western Union's approach to collaborating? How do you start those conversations?
Sure, so our flagship product is called Western Union Edge, and it's designed to allow corporations and small and medium-sized businesses connect with each other to do business. So businesses can find new suppliers and new buyers for their products and services. In order to build that, we've leveraged partners, whether it's partners from a development perspective, but more interestingly, we try to pull in data from as many sources as possible through various partners, whether it's an accounting package or in the future through open banking APIs, to help our customers make decisions. So Edge has a pretty rich set of reporting capabilities that allows businesses to understand their payables and receivables over time, and then model out what changes in exchange rates could do to the cost of those goods or their bottom line if they're selling. And so with open banking and with further accounting package data and other third-party data, these will have a richer sense of the our customers' overall financial picture and be able to provide them ultimately better advice so they can make better decisions about their risk management and payment needs.
There are many products in the market which are a bit fancier, I mean not too fancy, but let's say ETF-based portfolios, let's say lending products for different segments. And there are many products among them which are not, don't fit in the product strategy of the bank, so they don't want to have it by themselves, but the clients want to have it. So the best way to get it is partnering with a fintech. So at the end, if you want to provide a rich variety to the clients, a rich variety of products, when you want to follow the client with his needs and his requirements, you have to provide them a platform with partner products. And that's then where we end up in a kind of ecosystem, which is for us the final ultimate open banking. So ecosystems where you are the navigator that as a bank to the financial environment of the client, focus on different target groups and really bring all the functionalities that the clients might need around their personal life, about their financial life, and plug it together at one front end. And that's how to build ecosystems, and that's from our point of view the maximum version of open banking and connecting to fintech innovation. And yeah, that's what we do at the end, providing a platform to do this exactly in a reusable way.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Fintech Show. Be sure to check out our other episodes and more at www.fintech.finance. Catch you next time, amigos. Ciao.